Bright sunshine, a few clouds, and warm on Friday. Good Thursday night, East Tennessee. David Aldridge, Captain Accurate here from the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center. Well, you can see from the Ultimate Doppler Radar, we are dry. The Ultimate Doppler Radar presented by Insta-Dry. Waterproof your basement, foundation repair, crawl space encapsulation, they do it all. Check them out at instadry.com. Locally owned and operated with over 30 years experience. They can help you out with a lot of knowledge that they have acquired. By the way, the Ultimate Doppler Radar, the last couple hours not seeing much. If you look, though, towards, say, Ohio, there's a few showers and sprinkles that are developing up there that may, and I emphasize may form some sprinkles or drizzle overnight here in spots, especially toward the Smokies, but no big deal. High temperature today on the almanac, 84 degrees. I was expecting 85, so it was off by 1 degree, but Oak Ridge hit 85. Sun sets tonight at 8:23. The record high, 101, set back in 1988, which was a very hot year for sure. 85 today in Athens, 85 Oak Ridge, 84 today in Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and 77. Sweet up there in Crossville, Cumberland County, Lake Tansy, and Fairfield Glade. Temperatures hit 86, Nashville, Chattanooga, 88 today in Memphis, and 87 in Atlanta, just to name a few. As we look at the clouds from the visible satellite view, we can see some more definition, a few passing clouds, but then they fade away as we approach 8 o'clock because the sun's getting lower in the sky. We look at the infrared imagery, you can see there's still some clouds, a few, passing through Knoxville and the valley. That I can see at 8 o'clock because it's not reliant on the sun. But this image shows it more definition up toward Lexington, and then they fade away, and so it goes. There is an approaching front that may cause a few sprinkles as we head toward the overnight period. Not a big deal. Let's talk about humidity. If you felt like there was a little more humidity today versus yesterday, it's not your imagination. There will be maybe a pullback during tomorrow morning briefly, but then it wants to maybe really retreat by 5 p.m. on Friday. That's the stuffy air. It's shaded in green. But by the time we hit Saturday morning, we're going to be around 60, so it's going to feel delightful. You'll say, this Saturday morning stuff is awesome, and it will be awesome, but then it's going to come back on Sunday. So watch how quickly the humidity comes back. By, say, Saturday at 5, see a little bit more in the Southern Valley, but boy, does it really come back by the time we hit Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, because you can see by 5 p.m. it's stuffy once again, and it's going to feel like summer, because by Sunday we should be closer to 92 degrees with the humidity thrown in for good measure. Now, if you're camping this weekend, I might just plant that seed. If you're camping this weekend, you probably might get some relief from the heat and maybe the humidity at times. Maybe you're doing the s'mores thing. That's a cool thing. Oh yeah, and camping this weekend in your Go Big Orange tent. You gotta love that. But you'll notice this. If you're headed to the Smokies, it just depends on how high you go. If you're headed towards, say, Mount LeConte, they'll be in the 50s tomorrow morning. And if you're heading to Chimney Tops, maybe closer to 57. Clingman's Dome, 56. While Gatlinburg, Ober-Gatlinburg, clearly much warmer. They're in the 70s by about 10, 15 or so in the morning. We get to about midday. Midday, they're in the 70s for Ober and for Gatlinburg, but they're still in the 60s, and barely 60 there at Mount LeConte. Heading into Friday afternoon, oh yes, they're in the 60s. It's delightful. And Gatlinburg, 78. So naturally, the higher you go up, it's going to feel nice and refreshing. You're going to feel like a little taste of fall if you're headed to the tops of the Smokies. Speaking of tops, there's Chimney Tops. Early Saturday morning, they're in the mid-50s. Not bad. Mostly, even Newfound Gap looks pretty good there. By about Saturday afternoon, upper 60s, mid-60s, but they're closer to 80 around Gatlinburg proper and Ober-Gatlinburg, probably mid-70s. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's absolutely free. The address is real simple, but you got to throw in the slash and the at. It's youtube.com/@ Captain Accurate. Check it out. Love to have you follow me on YouTube as I continue to expand my reach. By the way, the National Hurricane Center came out with this just moments ago. 8 o'clock update. You say 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, Aldridge, looks like there's 4 X's. X marks the spot. What are you looking at? I'm looking at 4 possible storms. That's what I'm looking at. And you might want to draw your eyes to the Gulf of Mexico, because if you have family in Texas, there could be a good reason that they finally get some rain after 40-some-odd days in Houston. They're pretty dry, I'd say, in South Texas. But the probability that they have labeled, as you can see, this is an 8 o'clock update from tonight, a 30% chance we get a storm name that would be possibly Emily, possibly Franklin, possibly Gert, as in Gertrude. But it looks like the 70% may form first. It doesn't always, but it seems odds are, the odds-on favorite would be the 70%. That could be Emily. And then the 50% could become Franklin. I'm thinking Peanuts, the cartoon. And then, 20% chance we get one there and then 30% there. So we'll watch this closely. And if you are curious, hurricane season is about to reach its historical peak, which is usually the 20th of August through the 10th of September. We have moved through Arlene, Brett, Cindy, and Don. Emily, Franklin, and Gert, and Harold would be the next 4 names on the list. And as you can see where our arrow is today, we're just now beginning to ramp up. Doesn't mean hurricane season ends September 10th. No, someone had challenged me on that once. They said, no, that just means it starts to decline historically after the 10th of September, just the way it goes. And if you're looking for lead times, you get a lot more headway, a lot more lead time if it's in the middle of the Atlantic, like 6, 7, 8 days or more. But no. If something just spins up in the Gulf of Mexico, you usually have 2 days or less. So I'm trying to do my best to alert you. There could be something down there. So we're going to be like extremely dry. So dry, I need some rain. We might go 5, 6, 7, 8 days without rain or more. I need rain. Where's it going to be? Gulf of Mexico. That's where it's going to be. It's like a yin and a yang. It's like rainy down there, super dry here. So you might be hoping that the remnants of something tropical could come up here, perhaps before the end of the month. But that's just wishful thinking. Drizzle possible overnight tonight. Warm on Friday. We're in the mid-80s and much hotter. Dare I say much more humid too. So it's a twofer, hot and humid, and it's going to feel like triple digits. We're going back to triple digits. It's August. I thought we were done with summer because the kids got back to school. It doesn't work that way. Summer is still summer, so some of the hotter days that we've seen this year could still be lying ahead of us. Storm Prediction Center, I want to talk about some where severe weather may be. Hardly anything. I mean anything from Texas up towards Chicago. It's pretty quiet. There are some hot spots maybe in the New England states. Boston, New Hampshire, Vermont might find some isolated severe storms tomorrow, but it's pretty quiet. Everywhere in Tennessee and in neighboring states, pretty quiet. Saturday looks even more so. There's no dark green areas at all, so it looks pretty quiet. And we're not expecting any thunder here. Could be some general thunderstorms, maybe down toward Myrtle Beach or down toward the Florida Peninsula. But by the way, Futurecast looks like this. Here comes the front. You talked about some drizzle. Show me the drizzle. Show me the drizzle. There it comes. Ah, I see it. It's like the Smokies foothills. And that's 7 o'clock in the morning. So if you get a drop of rain, you say, did you forecast that? Yes. Talked about it for a couple of days. I didn't really put it in the forecast. I just verbalized it. Said there could be some drizzle. And if you don't get it, don't be surprised you don't get it. But that may be the last drop you see for a while. It may be the last drop of rain I see for a while, unless it comes from my garden hose. Okay, noontime Friday. 5 o'clock Friday looks nice and dry. Warming up in the mid-80s by Saturday. High pressure slides across West Virginia, heads toward Virginia Beach. Saturday's afternoon high around 87 now, but should be in the 90s. They come back, low 90s on Sunday. So if you're looking for some heat, looking for some humidity, it's coming back, my friend, but it's going to stay exceedingly dry. We've moved into a new pattern. All right, so overnight tonight, down to 66. Normal low, 68. So we're about 2 degrees below the average for this time of year. Now, what about fog? I could also verbalize. There could be some patches of fog, but not everybody sees it. This is how it looks, at least from the modeling, at 7 a.m. tomorrow. A little bit of here, like toward La Follette, Jellicoe, maybe a little toward Gatlinburg, possibly back toward the Plateau, but perhaps not that debilitating. I mean, it's nothing unusual. 8 o'clock may look like this, and then by 9 o'clock or so, it starts to fade away. So the visibility, I think it's helpful. It gives us a sense of where it might be most concentrated. Tonight, we're down to 66. A few clouds, drizzle possible, and the winds are going to be light and variable for much of the overnight period, but some drizzle may come into play overnight. Low temperature in Wartburg, 63. Crossville, Lake Tansy, 61. That's a nice slice of nice tomorrow morning. 63, Middlesboro, Bell County, and Tazewell. About 65 for Morristown, Talbot, and 65 for Newport, Dandridge, Cosby, Del Rio, and Parrotsville, and 63 for a low in Sevierville by tomorrow morning. Now, speaking of tomorrow, high of 86, that would be, 2 degrees warmer than today, and really 1 degree warmer than Oak Ridge was today, but it's a few clouds, and winds generally changing direction to the northwest, 3 to 8 plus. 86 for Maryville, Alcoa, 84 Tellico Plains in Madisonville, and La Follette, Jacksboro, Caryville, 81, 78 for Oneida. Now, looking ahead to the Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville and East Tennessee, boy, does it turn hot and humid. Don't you like how I labeled it with some weather words? 1, 2, 3. You got 3 weather words on there. I hope you mean it. Oh, I mean it. Boy, do I mean it. 92, 94, 95. Do I hear a 97? and a low around 73, you know that could be like a 105 heat index. Ding, 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 ding. You can really figure this out, right? You're going to realize how quickly this pattern is going to change next week. And all the while, we're baking. They're dealing with tropical weather, perhaps, in the Gulf of Mexico. Yin and yang, back and forth, teeter-totter, seesaw, here we go. Hope you're ready, because a lot's going to happen in the next 7 days. Some of you will be hoping and praying for rain. I imagine we'll be saying, we need some rain, we need it bad. Look at that, 96 on Thursday. What is it, another 7 days with no rain? And I had once a professor from North Carolina State teach me one time. He says, when do you forecast a drought? Is it the day after it rains or like 2 weeks after it rains? It's a lot easier to convince people that we're into a drought after you get like 2 weeks of dry weather. I'm not suggesting we're going to drought, but a dry weather pattern is absolutely in our future. I want you to be prepared. Make sure your air conditioner's in good working order, and we'll want to check on pets and check on our elderly neighbors. It's just something you want to do when it gets this hot, this fast in late August, because that's where we're likely headed. By the way, you can keep track of all this using the Captain Accurate Weather app with Pete Michaels Traffic. There it is. Keep you and your family safe. Just search the 2 words, Captain Accurate, the App Store, Google Play. Pete Michaels Traffic, the best in the business here in Knoxville. He's also on the app. Just go to the App Store, Google Play. It's also really handy on your iPad as well. Don't forget to follow me on YouTube. We'll see you here next time. Have a great weekend. If you are going to the Smokies for some camping, have a great time. We'll see you here next time. Take care.